Hi everybody. It is the two best lady bosses in the world sitting here today. That's until we meet the next one. But for today, we are the best lady bosses in the world. Um, welcome to Aasiyah. She's joining us. I don't even know from where, but she's going to tell us her story because she has an amazing story to tell. I've only scratched the surface and I can't wait for her to tell us the rest. So Aasiyah, thank you for joining and sharing your story and your journey with us and inspiring all the women out there. So tell us about your story and your background.
Thank you. Sure, I feel like I need to make up something now because you just put me on that pedestal. I hope my story is not too boring. Firstly, I don't think people realize that these platforms are important for small businesses and especially for women. We didn't get these platforms back then. We didn't get to share our stories. We didn't get to engage, inspire, and be one another's spirits and support, So I should say thank you first. I don't know if you guys are aware that I speak too much. Good luck to you. I'm not doing the timekeeping, so somebody had to warn you that I speak way too much. But anyway, too late. Okay. I'm on. Too late, no turning back. My story, my journey, I think there's so many aspects of my journey, but if we go specifically, I think one of the things that stands out for me is that I never wanted to be an entrepreneur because my biggest fear was on the 25th, I won't get a paycheck. I've got expenses and I've got a child and that I can't do it. That's it. I couldn't do it. I can't be that entrepreneur, Those people don't have security. I've got security every 25th of the month. And so year in and year out, I have these amazing ideas because my personality, I did a personality test. I'm an innovator. I'm a creator. And so year in and year out, if you were my friend, shame, you have to listen to my stories about all these amazing business ideas. I sounded like, that guy that's trying to chat you up and he's talking about, I got property. And I sounded like this person and I could hear me sounding like this person. And what was amazing is that I think a long time ago, I decided my inner circle, I'm going to choose you, not part of my inner circle. You are my entertainment because your love stories are very important for me to keep my spirits up. So that friend stays. But I chose my inner circle. And a lot of people always like, how do you come up with like really innovative ideas and stay ahead? And I'm like, I have a good circle. We are not even going to talk about family. I think South Africa is one of those countries that has good family support. And I am privileged coming from a traditional and cultural that I have good family support, good or bad. I mean, my aunts will tell you, you're not wearing earrings on a Zoom meeting. That's disgusting. I would never. Or my mom will just take your clothes and she'll be like,
the question is, would they even be on a Zoom meeting? Or you need to listen to them.
No, for sure. But I mean, you get into the car and you're already like conscious of how you look because my aunts are like, oh, did you think about not wearing lipstick today? Like, how do you go out with me and not wear lipstick? My aunt whispered in my ear once, she was hugging me and she said, that's fake fur. Okay. Anyway, so I chose my inner circle and I think that's very important. I had this discussion with somebody once. I said, we weren't raised to support one another and to compliment one another. We were raised to criticize because if I criticize anything about you, I feel better. If I criticize anything about you, then that means that competitively I'm above. We were never told to embrace other women. And there's always this thing that goes around that I really, really don't like. It's we should straighten one another's crowns. And I always reply, or we should compliment it. Yeah. Why are we always fixing one another when we should be complimenting one another? And don't think that I was an amazing female at school. I think they taught us this. The system taught us to be competitive, to hate on other women. And so it's important that I needed to choose my circle firstly. So my journey started where I was working, and then before COVID already, the companies were going down.
What did you do before you went into?
Sure, everything. From receptionist to working in the medical field, reception as well, but then managing radiology departments, training, especially set up major training hubs. Barloworld was one of them. So I set up Barloworld Training Company. I set up Barloworld Spray Painting, Metropolitan. I have been a training specialist. I've written training material, training strategies, directorships, senior management in HR directors. The longest and the one that I enjoyed the most was defense, aerospace, and engineering, where I was in top management positions. And I think it was the fascination that I had nothing to do with technology. I didn't know what it was, but the fact that I was in the exco, which means that you are the technical person with all this knowledge, but I realized how good my entrepreneurial skills was, because you'd say like, oh, you know what? We need to fix the inner part of the software with the hardware integration. I'm like, when is it done? It's a simple question. And so mine was money, time and money. Theirs was an amazing project, a product, and engineers generally are. Anyway, so I've been doing it. Times were tough. So then the company started, giving us a reduced salary. And psychologically, I thought I was broke on a 10% reduction. I was like, I'm not going to survive. How am I going to do this? So then I realized I had skills and I could do something. And so I did the work skills plan, employment equity report, sideline. And then I was generating.
So to complement and when you realize that you're going to be short at the end of the month, even though no matter how much you earn, because you started as a tea lady, you were broke at the end of the month. Well, first week of the month, you ended up as a senior person.
That 10% I needed to compensate. And then I was like psychologically, without that 10%, not even realizing I'm in a different tax bracket. In fact, I was earning the same. I'm so stupid. I was just like, but that 10%. And it was like it was very, very little. If you take off the provident fund,
so you were then trying to start up and finding like a little side hustle almost, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And so I looked at my skills and I could do HR work on the side. And so I did work skills plan, training strategies, employment equity reports. And then I was earning 50% of my salary.
Oh, wow.
And and then I was like,
thank you for reducing 10% and getting my bum off the chair and actually making 50% more.
Absolutely. Like, what was I thinking? And so my girlfriend and I make this thing about every end of the month we go out. She's a business person, but she's my best friend, right? And so we would talk about relationships, boys and relationships and guys we like, girly stuff. But we talk about business. And I remember she said to me once, she said, if you want to be a successful business person and you want to start up, save enough money that you have enough money to take care of you for 2 years. That way, you're not stuck in a rut and you're not in survival mode. Because when you're in survival mode, what you do is you take on anything, you get scammed, you're not thinking ahead. So you take on a 3 million rand deal and you're making 5,000 rand profit with all the work, with all the calculations, with all the expenses. And so I've been saving since that time because I'm like, I'm doing this, I can do this. And then I started full time. But at the same time, in 2019, I registered the NPO as well. So a lot of my time was being consumed. I actually couldn't work anymore because I'm doing the NPO. My business is taking off. 2020, I decided that's it, starting full time now. I'm going to go in Abawutuli, which is my NPO, and Klinga Solutions, which is my consultancy company. And they say God has his own time. I know it's, not everyone does believe, let's say the universe has its own time. And that time was in 2020 for me. Everything happened just the way it was supposed to. I was mature enough. I wasn't in a desperate state at that time. COVID hit, and most of the businesses that I knew were forced to take on my services because of COVID. So it was just a win-win for me.
And obviously you didn't have a chance to really plan that your whatever you were going to do would take off radically during COVID, but it just so worked out that you that you could benefit from the situation.
Absolutely. In fact, I was still doing a lot of HR work during COVID. I was saying to someone, you know, I work because they were saying my skin looks so good. And I think these are real stuff that we need to explain as women. We don't just have to take care of our businesses, our kids, it's our bodies. And these things are the last thing that we do. We don't take a walk. We don't go out and just see nature because we're sitting in our laptop, we're trying to make money, we're trying to be a good mom, we're trying to take care of that drumming lessons that your child needs to go to. And so I got really, really sick at the beginning of this year, just reflux, but it was all the stress. It was, I volunteered at NPO at an orphanage as well. And we had a really traumatic story. You and I can share that someday offline or share it again. And it was just all of this that was taking toll on my skin. One of the things that was really bad for me during COVID, out of everything, was while I was booming, there were people with no food. Absolutely nothing. Tears was still finding itself. I won't speak about what is good or what is bad. I'm talking about my experience.
Yeah.
Tears platform was still finding itself. I was working with minimum wage earners, people that hardly earn 3,000 and no work, no pay people. They weren't getting their money the first month that Tears hit in. They were getting their money second to third month. Every day people were saying, I've got nothing to eat, Aasiyah. I've got no food at home. And so I had sleepless nights. It was difficult to fight with Department of Labor because you can't work against a system. Department of Labor call center had a frequently asked questions and then they answered. The higher beings or the superpowers up there, it only gets escalated once something is out of the ordinary. So I understood all of that, but it was hard listening to people saying, I don't have food. So COVID hit and it just took a toll on everything that I was doing. But on the positives, it was doing good for the business as well. And I think everything was meant to be. I think it kept me sort of just wanting to do more in the MPO, wanting to make a bigger difference in the MPO, and then wanting to balance where I'm going. What I was really blessed for is that I just got offers to do interviews, and to be in newspapers. We've been on every radio station, every newspaper, every online. And when people ask me, and they're like, would you like to? And I'm like, of course. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. And so I don't think the people think the power of media, the power of PR. And all of a sudden, I needed to get 4 shades of lipstick, 10 outfits. And I was like, yo, girl, checking myself out. And it helped our business, which ironically is what I teach, digital marketing to unemployed youth. And digital marketing is the way of the world. And so it was just phenomenal. Yeah.
So tell us, what is it that so you're talking about the 2 businesses here, the NPO and the consultancy. So what is it then that they do?
So the NPO is my baby. It's Abagakuli. The NPO takes disadvantaged, unemployed youth from marginalized communities, and we give them skills to become financially independent. We teach them drone license, where they can be drone license consultants to people. They can fly drones with South African Civil Aviation Authority license. We give them data analysis, where they can do freelancing globally, doing data analysis, how to design a chatbot, mobile app development, artificial intelligence. We teach them e-commerce development, to set up an e-commerce site. We teach them digital marketing, how to do analytics, how to draw all of that, content creation, all of that. And the idea for me was we've got a high unemployment all around. I'm tired of hearing it as well, and we're not changing the narrative. So everybody says, well, educate people. If that's the truth, then why are 60% of graduates unemployed?
Yeah.
So I said, let's change the narrative. And I studied the fourth industrial revolution so much. So my parents, my grandparents was affected by the industrial revolution, you know, the era of machines. There was a Great Depression back then. So I'm like, but what are we doing for the fourth industrial revolution? How are we empowering our kids for the fourth industrial revolution, which is the era of artificial intelligence? And so everyone's like, oh, these kids must do maths. And I'm like, no, they mustn't. They can count to 10 and they can speak. They can do coding. And so this notion of fear was always in it. And I took 2 lots. So we had 40 kids in the Cape Flats and 40 kids in Quebec. And they didn't have matric. And everybody said, it's not going to work. And I said, okay, challenge accepted. So we took them through their ABET, which takes them up to matric. It's called AET now. And together with that, we taught them chatbot development, e-commerce development, mobile app development, and digital marketing. They didn't have matric. They come from the poorest of the poorest area. And again, I won't share some of the stories, but just to let you know, kids literally send me photos of, there's a body lying here. I have to wait for the police. Girls that have been attempted rape. Man, if you stand outside the school, it's surrounded by drug merchants. When poverty is rife and it's raw and you see it, and you're like, we're going to take these kids and we're going to make a difference. And so we took them from not having matric to living in really poor areas to generating pounds, euros, and dollars.
Wow.
And you sit there and you think like, why aren't we thinking this way? Is it political? Is it we just can't think out of the box? Have we not been exposed to poverty and to really destitute areas enough to know that we need to make a difference? And so that's what we did. And then the latest we're working on is we're designing a mobile truck. So I have this idea, right? It's a Star Trek ship. I know, I'm a Pisces, not my fault, okay? It's a Star Trek ship, and you have a humanoid inside. Just picture it. Everything is state-of-the-art software. So you have state-of-the-art, those Minecraft big screen games, Roblox big screen. So they teach you coding, and then we have artificial intelligence where you play with artificial intelligence and you can set up little gadgets. Then you have a drone simulator. So, you know, when you used to take your child and then you put a Taurai in and the car goes back in front.
Yeah.
Similar, except that you wear the goggles, you sit in a helicopter, somebody flies the drone outside and you feel every vibration and you're going up as they're going up. So when they reach right on top, you're feeling that's because you're wearing the virtual goggles, the virtual reality goggles. And so this is the feel that we want to give. And we're taking this truck to rural and farm areas to break the cycle of poverty in those areas. So that's Abagakuli. That is, obviously, you can see that makes my heart.
No, I can see that is like
more. And then Kunda Solutions ties in a lot, even though it's very business. So Kunda Solutions is for every company that either generates income above 10 million, under 50 million, or over 50 million. I'm very blessed. I've got clients from about 200 million generating income. I do strategic BEE strategies for them. So I do scenario plans because they have BEE audits, right? Or verifications. And so I have to work out on all 5 elements of BEE. What do you need to spend? And luckily with enterprise development and with skills development, we can then tell them where to spend it. And Abagakuli obviously is one of their favorites. So they spend it in there as well. So it works. Sometimes we charge, sometimes we don't, because it's a benefit for us either or. So we negotiate quite well. And that's what I do for them. So not only do I do scenario plans, I also do implementation of those plans. I like to think high level. I hate operational. Then I just hand over and I said, this is the plan, guys, make it happen. The points need to come in. This is what you need to spend. So we get to spend other people's money. So I'm technically not single. I'm married to a whole lot of companies and I get to spend their money. This is why I'm single. And that's Klinga Solutions. And a little cat out of the bag, we're very close to launching, is a new company that I've worked on 2 years. And that is an online school that is driven by artificial intelligence. So your child, when they register from grade R to grade 7, gets to look at the PC. The PC recognizes your child's face, your child's voice, and your child's emotion. And artificial intelligence teaches them, not a teacher, not a virtual meeting, because parents hate these online schools. Not you have to sit in and do their homework. The robot helps them. We call it a humanoid, helps them with everything. Their schooling, their homework. You come home and you're like, I'm so tired, but I also want to be involved in my child's life. You put in your key and it says to you the day's work that the child did, and you have an idea, and then you can go back to your child. Just a dashboard view, nothing you have to do. It teaches them 4R skills, robotics, artificial intelligence, but it also has the trade game. So we have gaming where they trade online with Bitcoin and
Oh, boom. That is cool. That is so cool. Wow.
Yeah, and that's Square Peg Academy. And you know, square peg, round hole. I hated that saying where people said, oh, you got a whole lot of square pegs that, you know, don't fit into this round hole. And I'm like, what's wrong with a square peg? Why should we all be the same? You know, so.
You know, it's very interesting that you're saying that as well, because when I still worked at my company, at Accenture, I didn't know anything about. Then they'll talk about, oh, the industries, this and that, and it was like, oh, you have to go and learn about, you know, because obviously within the way the company worked, there was. You could work in different industries, and they wanted you to get industry skills, and they would give you all this training and stuff, and it was always so boring. I tried as hard as I could to avoid it, okay, because I hated it. But then what happened is that as I came back from maternity leave, and you know, that little like, oh crap, how am I going to afford this baby? And I thought, okay, I'm going to try this whole trading thing now. And as I then started to now I have real money in something, and I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? Is it going to go up? Is the price going to go down? And all of a sudden, I read up about the industries, what's happening, what's the latest things there, what's the companies, what are the companies doing, why are they important? And all of a sudden, all of that stuff that they wanted me to learn through their
and now I
taught myself, but through a whole different fun way. I was like, flip, if the HR people can just change the way we teach people.
No, for sure.
And adults as well. I mean, great for the kids, but even adults, you know, just in a different way, it could make such a big difference.
And I think it's also because we're sometimes afraid that if I teach you, you might know more than me. You know, before, I don't know if you remember, well, I'm way too old for this, but when the speakers used to be there, you literally used to sit like this and just hang on every word. If you go to a session now, people are sitting on their iPads, iPhones, everything, but the one ear's here, because they also like, if I miss something, it's recorded here, send it to me. But the other reason is you can't, before when you used to say, this is it, people used to be like, oh, now when you say this is it, and somebody's like, sorry, I just Googled, your website said it's not.
Yeah.
These poor old guys standing in front there, they can't deal with this challenge. But the truth of the matter is that information is so open that you can't be, you need to know what you're talking about. You can't be winging it anymore. You know, 2 o'clock in the morning, you just quickly did this presentation and now you're going to wing it because of information. And again, did we not just have a boring way of saying stuff, you know?
But you know how many times I do that? When people tell me, when I'm in a presentation and people will talk to me about, you know, the organic reach of this and this, and then I'll be like, okay, but what is a good reach now? You know, what is a good percentage? Oh no, 15 to 20%. But by that time I've Googled it already.
Awesome.
No, I don't think so. I think it's not bad.
No, for sure. And that's the part. Yeah, that's the part that we need to understand. And You can't even lie to your kids like our parents could. They'll be like, because it is like that, because God said so, and that's it. If all else fails, it's always God, because God wants it that way. That's it. And so we also came to a point. I mean, for me, I'm just like, I don't know, baby, let's have a look when we get home. Because, it was interesting. I actually have the stats on the phone. My son Googled how many times I'm being searched. And it's something ridiculous, like 117,000 times every 0.65 milliseconds,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
Because he found this hack where you can find out specifically to you why you're being searched, which is quite interesting, because I was like, wow, and it's obviously all the PR and everything. But imagine somebody comes with that stats to me and I'm arguing about something I could have just said, I don't know. And I'm like, no, it is like that. So we don't do that arguments anymore. We don't, well, not anymore. I've never really done it. But I mean, I don't do what my parents did, and just like God said so. I'm like, let me have a look. Let me find out. I will ask around. Let's Google. Let's find out. And also know the difference between fake sites. He was sending me something yesterday saying, do you know it's the end of the world soon? I'm like, oh, baby, you need to find out what's the difference between like fake sites. Never mind, I will explain this to you again, he said to me.
There's proof, and it's all on the internet. The world
absolutely. Did you see the way the guy said it? It has to be. But that's obviously the downside to everything has a downside. And when somebody asked me once why I started Square Peg Academy, why it's so important, because technically we'll be the only artificial intelligence school right now in South Africa. And I said, every corner that I grew up, I was suppressed. Now, I told you right at the beginning, I'm an innovator, I'm a creator. That's what my personality says. But my culture, my gender, my brother was older, I was younger. So it was like, I couldn't, but you younger, you're a girl. It just kept on being like that. Then it came to school and boys always got everything. Then it came to workspaces. I worked in male-dominated environments, and it was like, really, Aasiyah? Anyway, I mean, you literally feel that like where they're brushing you off and you're like, wow, like I even would hope that you come up with something more creative so that you think I'm not that stupid to notice how you brushed me off. Now, I worked in defense and aerospace and engineering. That's a whole new cafe latte topic, double espresso, okay? And so at every corner, you brushed me off. And so how are we going to do this to the future generations? Because the future generations should be given the platform and the opportunities to be creative, to be innovative. They've got nothing to lose at a primary school level. They can build the best system infrastructure because they'll take the risks. We can't because we've lived, and so we're a little bit scared, and they'll do it. They're like, so what, it didn't work. They don't feel it as emotional as we do. And so that's why I created Square Peg Academy, because I wanted kids to be given the opportunity to be the next leaders, to be creative, and it's okay to be different. We shouldn't all be the same. We shouldn't all be treated the same as well. So, yeah.
So I'm going to put a formal request in. Okay. Can you create an AI program for me, a learning one for students, okay, on how to save electricity and water? Life skills that you should know as a student.
No, it's easy. If the app says so, they'll do it. So if they go to their gym, then they get their app. So their gym times will be synchronized with their app, and their eating habits, their eating plans, this amount of protein, it will all be synced with the electricity. Every app that they have, their exercise, their home yoga, everything, because only once the app says that, they will do it. You shouldn't say it. That's it.
I must just get an app to say it.
Just enough.
Just enough. 5-minute showers are good for you. 2-minute showers are even better.
Absolutely. But you know what? It's a joke, but actually 4IR is the one platform that's going to push environmental affairs. It's going to push better safety and security. So people are like, what are you talking about? people are going to be more conscious because it's more open, because there's more apps, because there's more devices to measure. If you think about CCTV cameras, we've caught somebody stealing a bag that we wouldn't have back then because of the cameras. Somebody sent an audio where they recorded and then they found the perpetrators. The looting, there was this one expensive couch, they found it.
Yeah.
Due to all the guy who took, I think, a whole lot of grocery shopping, he owns a Mercedes. They took in his Mercedes for 500 Rand groceries that he stole at Woolies. Lessons learned, So
you never know if taking a photo of you doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, everywhere you go, you just got to be. I've got this joke where, I've just recently joined TikTok. So I'm always like telling my son how amazing I am on TikTok. He's like, you have very little followers. I'm like, they mean the world to me. Okay.
Who cares? I'm on TikTok.
I'm that kind of parent. Like, how many parents do you know? Lots. My teacher's on TikTok. Your teacher is half my age. We will not. Okay. She's amazing and she's half my age. That's it. So I'm always making this joke about that and like how I'm so like TikTok famous and but the truth of the matter is everything is being watched all the time, every corner you're being watched. And the irony is you gave it permission. When your app says, can we have permission to check your location, your voice, all of that, you said yes. And so now you're like, I wonder why. I love it when people say to me, I was just talking about blouses. Hey, next thing you know, it comes up. Because you gave it permission. That's why. And Facebook is the biggest form of handing over data because data is going to be the way of the world.
But I've learned now on Facebook that if I really like something, I click on it a lot so that they can get me more stuff, So you need to use it as well. So once I clicked on, so I'm into this thing now where I buy stuff off Facebook, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing because what happened, I think, because of last year and everything that has happened with COVID and lockdowns and all that, what the guys have done is a lot of the farms and people that used to only supply to restaurants, they are now opening up and they are actually supplying to the normal public, the retailers out there. And so now I found this awesome shop that sells Karoo Carnarvon meat. So I saw that, I'm click, 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 buy. And then the next thing, I get another one popping up, and it's a company that used to only do fresh vegetables for restaurants, and I'm like, click, 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 buy. Next thing I get seeds. I'm like, buy.
Nice, very nice.
But
it is. It's a way to work. So I want to give you an example why my son thinks I'm pathetic on TikTok. Whatever. So I uploaded all about Cruelly's graduation. I wanted, because those are young kids, and I wanted people to know how proud I am. And the people that did the videos were our drone licensed videographer students, right? So the videos were top notch. They were drone quality. And I was just like a proud mom, it was all planned. We all wanted it for the PR. So I wanted to keep the money in the family. And so I kept going. And when I did it, I got like, I don't know, 600 likes, 500 likes, which is nothing on TikTok. TikTok has an amazing algorithm. I uploaded a video, a comparison between a USA school and a South African school. So the USA, they're having kids in the classroom with a teacher and they're dancing, and then it switches over to the South African school and they're in a rural area. And you know the pole when you hang your washing, where your washing line is on? She's basically got a stick hitting the pole, but she's got a beat of her own. And there's about 7 kids around her and they're just jamming to this beat. And then there's a bicycle driver guy and he's enjoying the beat. It was so real, so raw, so relatable to me because we did it when we were younger. And everybody's like, South Africa. I said, who's better? South Africa. Let me tell you, 2.6 million views I got on it.
Wow.
So now he's like, that's the only video that you got. And I'm like, I didn't work on more. He's like, you're like a one-hit wonder. I'm like, whatever. 2.6 million views. Okay? Let us remember. Okay? But the point is, it's algorithms. So TikTok is probably the best algorithm. So a lot of people start in TikTok and then export it to Insta and export it to Facebook, because TikTok's algorithm is where if you got so many likes and so many, let's say a minute, then they expand it to a broader audience, and boom, you're allowed to. So because of that one video, I literally got 17,000 followers, and I got something like, I don't know, 200 and something thousand likes. And I'm like, wow, I became, so now just like, I'm a TikTok sensation. I got this. But it's about algorithms, and digital marketing is about all of that. But it's the way of the world. And so if we're going to be out of it, we're going to miss it.
Yeah.
That's it,
So you now this digital marketing trainer, expert person. So I think if there's one piece of advice that you can give women out there when it comes to getting their businesses out there on digital marketing, social media, where do you start, and what would you say is what would you say is the best place for them to start?
I think if I can separate this question, so I think advice to women, firstly, on a general platform, is to get out of the toxic relationship, get out of a business that's struggling. Just because you got the passion doesn't mean that it's what the market wants. Get out of that friendship that you need to work on, and then you're together and then you're not. Get out of that negative space. We're not used to giving up. We're not people that just throw in the towel, because we're parents. And so if we had to give up, we'd have given up on our kids, on our life, on everything. But at a certain point, you got to fill your own cup, and so it cannot drain you. So that's my advice to women. I said it for the past 6 interviews, and I would say it again. I heard somebody say, if you haven't changed emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, and or all of the above during COVID, you're never going to change. Because first, we were worried about our income. In COVID, we're worried, and we're grateful that we're alive. And when the one doesn't bother you, it means that you'll be like, let me just take on something that I always wanted to do. I hate coming to work every day, but I love baking. And so let me work on my baking. So that would be the personal advice. From a digital point of view, I think our problem is that we feel if we try this and go on 2 free webinars and 2 free seminars, we become digital experts. I would say invest in finding somebody who you pay, who just gives you a strategy plan, not an implementation, because it's the implementation that's expensive, just a strategic plan, an advisor. That people, let them come in, let them do a strategy plan. Because now I'll say to you, go on Facebook. Facebook is amazing. And I'm totally out of my depth telling you what you're doing. For example, I am not a Facebook person when it comes to any of my business. I'm a LinkedIn complete person, because all my businesses requires high-level people to make decisions, and so they won't sit on a Facebook, and even if they don't want me to know them personally on there, because they're all directors, shareholders, CEOs, MDs, that kind of thing. And so no, I wouldn't. But if I want to distribute the school, I want to start with TikTok. There's a group that I said, this is going to be my platform. This group is against the way schooling is. It's old school. They're not letting our kids think. We need a solution. And I'm like, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm right into that platform. Find somebody that advises you. I didn't do it. I found someone and I put it in stages. And so I saved up in stages as well. So this was the stage. The importance of PR. If you really understand PR, to get your name out there. I remembered somebody said, you have all these amazing ideas and nobody knows about you. That's PR. For people to know who I am and what I do, I need PR. So those are important platforms to be on, which is not just your Facebook and it's your television, your radio, your newspaper, your online, all of that. So that's my 2 bits of advice to women out there. We've been indoctrinated with we're not good enough and we shouldn't go out there and take a risk. we should, tread lightly. When people come to me and they ask me for any advice in their business and they tell me what they do, and I'm like, is it making money? Yeah, but I really love, is it making money? Because if it's not making money, it's draining you. And so they say, but I'm making a difference. And I said, so am I. But I've separated it. My business brings in money. My NPO makes a difference. You can do both. I can still buy a loaf of bread if I make money. I cannot feed a nation and not buy and buy a loaf of bread if I don't make money. That stress is unnecessary. Drop it, move on, or revise and think about it. This passion thing needs to go. Same with men. That's why they're not doing it for you. They need to go.
They're not bringing in the money. Sorry for you.
Yeah. Either that or they must do all the paint work and any odd jobs around the house. Then it's a benefit to the relationship. Then I'm fine.
Aasiyah, thank you so much. I wish we had like another 3 hours because it has been absolutely amazing chatting to you. And I think, thank you for your wonderful advice and sharing your story. I think it really has it inspired me. So it will definitely inspire all the other ladies that will be watching that. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for your time, and so nice meeting you, and keep doing what you're doing. We need you.
And we need more women to come out there and run businesses. So come on, ladies, the time is now.
Absolutely. Stop that being scared. It's not worth it. Life is more precious. What have you got to lose? It doesn't work. You move along and you go on. Tomorrow you will lose your job, God forbid. And then, it's the same thing. At least this is your own blood, sweat, and tears. And so that's my philosophy. I'm doing what I'm loving, and I'm generating income, and I get to make a difference, and I get to be on places like this.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.